Welcome to the Hollywood Gatekeepers YouTube channel. Today we are sharing a very special interview. So at Hollywood Gatekeepers, we train people how to become expert readers for the film industry. And we do that with several different programs. One of our programs is called the Insider Track. And in this program, we do weekly live sessions. And we often, at least once a month, we have a guest that comes in. Well, we had Mr. Bobby Moresko. He was amazing. He is the Oscar-winning co-writer of the movie Crash. And he came in and he told his stories about winning an Oscar, and then he actually coached several of our students as they worked on challenges and obstacles that they were facing. It was truly amazing, so moving. He was so generous. And so we decided to share a bit of that interview with you. So let us know in the chat what you think. Enjoy this interview with Mr. Bobby Moresko.
Writing, acting, directing is really hard. And if you can do something else and be happy, you should go do that. There's no guarantees. But for me, it was the only thing that made me happy. I didn't care about other stuff. And so I was a bartender, I was a construction worker, supporting my family, or a cab driver. And writing, acting, directing is what I loved. And if it's what you love, whether it chooses you or you choose it,
right,
then you're kind of foolish to turn your back on it.
Exactly. Well, and there's so many other, I love the reading thing too, because there's so many other ways that you can be involved. And this has been so gratifying, helping writers kind of, give them some support when they don't have it, and being in that position has been really, really gratifying in so many ways.
There's one lesson that you take away from this. When I was working in construction in New York, and I was about 36, I was working in construction because I had 2 kids, and I would be writing in my little theater at night. And I wrote this screenplay based on the play I just told you guys about. And I come home from work filthy, dirty. I had a little tiny desk in a small bedroom in an apartment in New York. And but I got this script done. I had a screenplay based on my play. And Paul Haggis, 7 years later, was given that screenplay by somebody I didn't even know. And somehow he had read my screenplay and gave it to Paul. And Paul hired me for my first job as a producer in television. Now, what's the moral of the story? The moral of the story is you take the action. I wrote that script. I didn't sit on my butt waiting for somebody to give me a job. I didn't say, hey, I'm working in construction all day long. I'm too tired to write. That's not the deal. The deal is you go home and you work. You don't know when it's going to pay off, but that's the only thing that pays off is you taking the initiative. If you're going to sit around and wait for somebody to give you a job, it's going to be a long wait. And I didn't count on Paul Haggis or anybody else reading that script. I went and then I directed some other thing in the theater.
Well, the fact that it took a while for him to find it too. People think that it's like, and a lot of people write one thing and they cling to that thing and they walk around and that's their baby and they're not going to do anything until that thing gets done. But it's not. You just have to keep churning it out and keep figuring it out. And something that you wrote could come back around. And it's such a beautiful example of that. So good.
Yeah. You don't stop. I'm happy to give you an example. First of all, you don't stop rewriting until you can't make it any better. All right. And then when you're done rewriting and you know that it's there, you know that it's the best you have to offer. If you have an agent or a manager, get them to send it out. It's a really cool thing. Or get anybody to read it that that might be helpful. Mm-hmm. And then write something else right away. Don't sit and pray for that one script. It will, it's a death that will take you 1,000 years to get through. You don't want that. All right. You've written that screenplay. It's behind you. It's the best you had to offer. Write something else, or go direct something, or produce something. What is one of the processes or whatever that you had to keep you writing? I remember like years ago when I was interviewing you and you got interrupted while we were doing this interview, like dozens of times. And I was like, how do you get anything done? And you were like, right. So it's like, so what are some of the, processes or whatever that you have that gets your things done? Like getting it. Talking to myself. You mean how do I mobilize my energies?
Yeah. How do you make sure that you get pages done, and what is your process to kind of getting it done? That seems to be something that people ask me.
My process is really simple. I remember what it was like working in construction, 30 floors up in the freezing cold, and I liked writing better. I'm serious. It's that simple, man. If you get lucky enough to do what you love and somebody's got to tell you to go right, you ain't the smartest person in the world.
So true.
I had spent 25 years painting houses, driving cabs, tending bar, working in construction. I knew I was lucky. All right. But in terms of this idea that what's the process of getting to your desk? If somebody tells you there's such a thing as writer's block, they are full of baloney. There is only a right, unless they have a serious depression issue psychologically, then it's another issue. All right, I'm not talking about health-wise. I'm just talking about this idea that I can't think of anything. All right, that's what's called bullshit. If you're a writer, if you're a professional, you go to your desk, you set aside 3 hours. And for 3 hours, I will sit at my desk, I will look at my characters, I will look at my story, and I won't leave this desk until something comes. And I promise you, if you sit at that desk for that long, you'll get an idea. Writer's block will no longer exist. But instead, most people walk over, they sit down and say, I can't think of anything, go have a coffee. Go talk to their friends, make a few phone calls, check Facebook.
Hi. Thank you for being here today. This is very educational for all of us. My question is, as a reader, how can we best support you as a producer, director, writer? What do you want from us to help you do your job better?
The first thing I want from you is complete and utter honesty. Okay? I don't want you to try to be smart. I don't want me to show you what a good writer you are. I don't want you to tell me how bad the other writer is. Okay? I want you to be really good at your job, and that means this. Is there a story there? And if there is a story and the script isn't particularly well written, what needs to be done to get it to a place if I want to consider directing it? And if it doesn't work at all, and it's not worth my consideration, show me why. Show me why in a clear, concise way that doesn't belittle the writer who wrote the script, but simply says, here's what, the script doesn't work for this reader, and here's why. If you were to do this movie, you would have to consider, I think, a page 1 rewrite, or to take a strong look at acts 2 and 3 because it's a good opening. Just be clear, just be honest, don't try to impress anybody, impress them with your knowledge of the story you just wrote, impart that knowledge to me and let me make my own decision.
Woo! Excellent, thank you.
Sally, did you want to ask your question?
But I've always wanted to do this, and but I had to, become a grown-up and have kids, and now I want to do it, and I don't know how to begin, and I don't know how to live like a college student again. So, any advice on moving things along a little bit? Like, I don't even know where to begin. I don't even know what to ask you.
So you're saying for someone who wants to start their career later in their life, any advice for that?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Start it.
Yeah.
All right, so start it. Where do you live?
Just move to LA and try to network?
No, I want to know where you live now.
Right now I live in Philadelphia. And
right,
I work at I work at a regular job doing, the regular kind of life. And I hate what I'm doing because what I always wanted to do is make films and tell stories. And now I want to break in, and I have absolutely no idea how. It's sort of terrifying.
So the first thing I would suggest to you is, did you hear the story I said before about working in construction and coming home at night, sitting at a little desk and forcing myself over a year and a half to write that screenplay? So my first suggestion is to you, find a story. By the way, you want to write movies, television shows, plays? What do you want to write?
Movies. I'm working on one that has been in my head since I was in college, and it's now starting to come out all the time. So that's what I'm working on all the time.
Fantastic. Well, that's a great thing. So just keep writing until you've got that movie written. And then when it's written and you're happy with it, and I would suggest Philadelphia is filled with a lot of good actors. There are theater companies everywhere. Find a good theater company, get some actors, and hear it read. Hear it read aloud with actors. And that's not hard to do. It's a lot easier than you think. And let's make sure that you're not being blind to what problems the script might have. Let the actors talk. Let the audience talk, and find out if you've really got a great one. Once it's finished, you get it to as many people who might have a connection as possible, and then you go write another story, because a writer writes. A writer doesn't wait. A writer writes. So get it done. Make sure it's the best you have to offer. Get it to every single person who might know somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody who might have a nickel for your movie, or an agent, or a manager. I mean, there are enough of them out there. I promise you, you'll know somebody who can badger somebody into reading it. That's what every person in your position does. And that's what you need to do. Nobody's going to open a door for you, I promise you. So,
does anybody else have, Ritika, do you want to go ahead and give yours? So say something and wave so we can see you. And
Hey,
then,
Bobby, can you see me?
hello, how are you?
How are you? Thank you for spending this time with us, and thank you, Carolyn. You know, I have a client, and I read a script for her earlier this year, and she is at retirement age. So the question she has was, and I know this is going to mean a lot to her, is I recently read, this is what the question was. I recently read and advised on a script for a woman close to retirement, yet has a strong passion to fulfill her screenwriting dream. She is worried about her age and how Hollywood may or may not welcome her. What is the best advice for people looking to bring their work into Hollywood who are elderly age group and be taken seriously?
Well, that's first of all, a great question. And second of all, Hollywood does not care how old you are. Here's what they care about. They care about three things. They care about a great story. They care about money, and they care about connections. Okay, and you're the same as everybody else, and it doesn't matter how old you are. So the first thing is it a great story? And if it's a great story, it doesn't matter who you are or how old you are. It's just not important. They don't care. Okay. Money they care about, and there are two ways to look at how they care about money. The first is, can they make money with this story? Is it commercially viable? Or does this script come with money that can get the movie made, and I can jump on its back and get my own money out of it? So if it's good enough, and this woman has a great story, and if she's in this position to bring in financiers for first money, here's what first money is. First money is to get the project off the ground. And very often somebody will come in and they'll put 100 or 200,000 up for first monies to get the project going, to hire a line producer, to get a board and budget. But I promise you, that's not worth doing unless you really have done the work and it's a story that can get out there. I mean, to start spending money on a script without a great story is a complete waste of time. And the only way you know you have a great story is if you get it to people who are really good at what they do, and they come back and say, this is brilliant. You can go out, you can get actors with this. Then it's worth putting a little money in, getting seed money, getting a board, getting a budget, hiring a casting director, trying to get actors attached, all that stuff. But nobody cares how old you are or that you haven't been attached. Those are the things they care about. And it all starts with a great story, with great characters. A great story with great characters.
Perfect.
well, I
Thank
would
you
say
so much.
that is the perfect question to end on, because that is what we are constantly saying. It's about story, 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 story. And when you're wondering what it's about story. And these other elements definitely play a part. But you know, if you have a great story, you have a great story, and it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how old you are. It doesn't matter anything.
So what did you think? Is he amazing or what? So let us know in the chat. Leave comments. Did it spark anything for you? Does it inspire you to write? Does it make you think about winning an Oscar? Or does it make you wonder about the insider track? Like what? Let us know. We love it when you leave comments. We love it when we engage, and we will answer any questions that you have. And it just was such a spectacular interview, and we hope you really, really enjoyed it. And be sure to subscribe and hit that bell so that you can get new videos every time we release them. Every single week, we have expert interviews. We talk about the reading process, the writing process. We just have a lot of fun here on this channel. So definitely subscribe and hit that bell so that you will get notified every time we have a new video. And if you think that you might want to learn more about the insider track or more about becoming a reader, you can join me for a free masterclass. And in this masterclass, I cover all the nuances about being a reader. It is so amazing. We have so much fun. We answer every question. It's really, really fun. So definitely join me in the masterclass. If you think you might be interested in reading, you can check it out. And by the end of the masterclass, you will know for sure if this is something that you want to do. So you can do that by joining me at HollywoodGatekeepers.com/free masterclass. And I will see you there, and we will talk about all the details of being a reader. It's spectacular. We'll have fun. I'll see you there.